Hello, my beautiful soul. I'm so honored you're here, that you've shown up for yourself, that you've dared to love yourself even a little more today. Thank you. That alone is a miracle. Let me ask you this. When was the last time you truly celebrated yourself? Not for achieving something, but simply for being? Most of us were taught to perform for love. But real transformation begins when we turn inward and say, I matter, I am enough, I choose me. You've been criticizing yourself for years and it hasn't worked. Try approving of yourself and see what happens. Today you are choosing a new path, not one of striving, but of returning. Returning to love, returning to yourself. And I want you to hear this deeply. I am willing to love and accept myself just as I am. Say it. Feel it. Let it bloom inside you. You're not becoming worthy. You've always been. And I love you for remembering that. Sweetheart, I want you to know something sacred. There is nothing missing in you. There never has been. Not when you felt small, not when you were told you were too much or not enough, not when you doubted your worth. Underneath all that noise, there is a divine power within you that has never left. People come to me and say, Louise, I just don't feel strong. I feel lost, disconnected, like I'm waiting for something or someone to save me. And I say gently, my darling, you're not waiting for anyone else. You're waiting to remember yourself. The power within you is the divine intelligence that knows you are whole, even when you've forgotten. That forgetting is not your fault. It is something many of us were taught. We were taught to doubt ourselves, taught to believe our worth came from others, from pleasing, from proving, from perfecting. We learned to disconnect from our truth just to be accepted. We abandoned our voices just to be liked. We carried shame that didn't belong to us. And in doing so, we dimmed our light. But even in the darkest corners of your story, your power remained. The power I seek is already alive in me. Say that slowly, like a prayer. Let your body feel the remembering. You are not broken. You are buried under layers of false beliefs. And today, we begin to peel them away. What if I told you that your power is not a force to control others, but a presence to guide yourself? What if power is not loud or aggressive, but steady and loving? Power is your ability to choose again, to love again, to believe again. Every time you say, I matter, even in a whisper, that is power. Every time you choose rest over burnout, truth over approval, softness over self-punishment, that is power. Many of us confuse survival mechanisms with personality. We say, I'm just not confident, or I'm always anxious, when in truth, these are coping responses to old pain. But your essence is not anxious. Your truth is not fearful. That is the armor, not the soul. I am willing to release the belief that I am powerless. Just being willing begins to shift everything. The universe responds to willingness. Let's talk about what dims that power. First, self-doubt. That sneaky voice that says, who do you think you are? But let's answer it. I am someone who is learning to love myself again. I am someone who deserves to take up space. I am someone whose healing matters. Second, shame. Shame from childhood. From the moments you were shushed, ignored, blamed, or made to feel small. My love, hear this. You did not deserve that. You were never too much. You were never wrong for feeling. That shame was never yours to carry. You are allowed to put it down now. Third, people-pleasing. Oh, how many of us learned that being liked was safer than being real. But the cost of approval is often self-abandonment. And when you leave yourself behind, your power begins to flicker. But here's the beautiful truth. Your power doesn't need to be found. It needs to be remembered. It is still here, waiting. It's in the way you care, in the way you sense, in the way your body knows when something doesn't feel right. That knowing, that intuition, that is your power. Say it again with me. The power I seek is already alive in me. So how do we awaken it? Gently, consistently, lovingly. We start by meeting ourselves in the mirror each morning. Look deeply and say, I see you. I believe in you. I am proud of how far you've come. Even if your voice shakes, especially then, we begin to take up space without apology. We speak the truth, even when it's uncomfortable. We listen to our bodies. We honor our limits. We stop waiting for permission. And when the old beliefs come knocking, you're not good enough, you're too late, you're too sensitive, we don't believe them. We bless them for trying to protect us, and we release them. I lovingly release all patterns that no longer serve me. I reclaim my power with joy and grace. I want to invite you into a new relationship with yourself, one where you are no longer at war with your own heart, one where you speak to yourself as someone worth loving. Your power is not in how loudly you shout. It is in how deeply you trust, how gently you return to yourself again and again, even after falling. That is sacred. That is strength. So today, remember this. You are not lacking. You are not waiting. You are waking. You were never powerless, only disconnected. And now you are coming home. And I am here, cheering you on with every breath, because I know who you are. You are light. You are love. You are power. Loving yourself first is like lighting a candle inside your heart, not to shut out the world, but to illuminate the truth that was always there. You are your own home. So many of us were taught the opposite. We were told that to love ourselves meant we were arrogant, selfish, or full of pride. But I want you to hear this clearly. Sweet soul, loving yourself first is not selfish. It is sacred alignment. When you love yourself, you stop waiting for the world to tell you that you matter. You start living like you do. We've all had moments of begging for love, from parents, from partners, from friends, from strangers. We twisted ourselves into shapes just to be accepted. We hid our real feelings to avoid being too much. We clung to the scraps of validation like they were lifelines. But those days are over. When we really love ourselves, everything in our life works. Not because life becomes perfect, but because we become whole. Loving yourself doesn't mean you stop needing others. It means you no longer depend on their approval to feel worthy. You begin to magnetize rather than chase. You begin to attract relationships that reflect your new standard, not from force, but from resonance. People who love themselves recognize the light in others. And people who know their worth don't settle for less than mutual nourishing love. Say it with me now. I choose to be my own source of love, safety, and validation. That is not a rejection of others. That is a reunion with yourself. Let's get honest, gently. What happens when you don't love yourself first? You overgive. You stay silent when you need to speak. You shrink when your spirit wants to rise. You look outside for what only you can offer within. And most painfully, you abandon yourself to belong. But the moment you turn inward and say, I will not leave myself again, that is the moment healing begins. Loving yourself means setting standards, not walls. A wall says, I must protect myself from pain. A standard says, I honor myself so deeply, I no longer invite what wounds me. One keeps people out, the other invites only what aligns. I've heard it whispered with trembling voices, "Louise, what if they leave when I stop twisting myself into someone I'm not?" Others confess with teary eyes, "If I finally set a boundary, will they walk away?" And I say, "My love, if your presence in their life depends on the absence of your truth, that is not love. It is a transaction. Real love honors, it does not demand your disappearance. Love is not earned by shrinking. Love, real love, is drawn to truth." I know it's not easy. Sometimes loving yourself means grieving the version of you that stayed quiet. Sometimes it means walking away from familiar patterns. But every time you choose yourself, you rebuild the foundation of your life with bricks made of truth. I am willing to release the belief that love must come with sacrifice. When you love yourself, you begin to take up space differently. You walk into rooms with presence instead of apology. You speak with clarity instead of fear. You no longer measure your value by what others give or withhold. You realize that your worth is not up for negotiation. You realize that your softness is strength. You realize that the most powerful relationship you will ever have is the one you build with your own heart. Let me ask you, what if the love you were waiting for was waiting for you to return to yourself? What if the safety you crave is born from the promise, "I will no longer betray myself for belonging"? What if every relationship in your life began to reflect how you treat yourself? When we love ourselves, we change our entire vibrational field. We become magnetic to what supports our peace. We become uninterested in what disturbs it. We no longer confuse attention for affection or drama for passion. We stop chasing. We start becoming. And yes, there will be moments you forget. That's okay. You can return again and again, because the path of self-love is not linear. It's layered. Each time you return, it's deeper. So let's create a practice. Place your hands over your heart and breathe. Say softly, "I am my own sanctuary. I return to myself with kindness." Let this become your anchor, your ritual, your truth. Let this be the place from which all your choices arise. And if you need a reminder, here it is. You are allowed to choose yourself. You are allowed to begin again. You are allowed to be both healing and whole. Because the moment you love yourself first, everything begins to transform. And not just your relationships, your work, your health, your joy, your dreams. Your entire life begins to respond to your inner love. So go on. Become the love you've always longed for. Give to yourself what you were waiting for someone else to give. Say it with me one more time. I choose to be my own source of love, safety, and validation. You are no longer waiting. You are becoming. And I love you for that. And now, my dear, we arrive at the most sacred question of all. How do I actually begin to love myself? Not as a lofty idea or a distant dream, but as a lived experience, moment by moment, breath by breath. Because self-love isn't just something you feel, it's something you practice over and over until it becomes the air you breathe. One of the most powerful tools I've ever shared is mirror work. It is simple, it is intimate, it is transformational. Stand in front of your mirror, look into your own eyes, and say aloud, "I love you. I really love you." At first, it may feel uncomfortable. You may hear a voice inside that says, "This is silly," or "You don't mean it." That's okay. That voice is old programming, not truth. Let the tears come if they do. Let the silence stretch if it needs. The mirror does not lie. It reflects your soul and the parts of you still waiting for your own approval. Because when was the last time anyone, especially you, looked into your soul with such tenderness? Not to criticize, not to fix, but just to love? The mirror becomes a gateway, a sacred portal through which your wounded parts can be seen, heard, and finally held. As I learn to love myself, I create a life that reflects that love. This is not wishful thinking. It is energetic truth. The more you meet yourself with love, the more the universe meets you there. Loving yourself practically means choosing kind words. Every day, we speak to ourselves inside our minds, and most of us do so with harshness. That inner critic, that old voice of fear and conditioning, often says things we would never dream of saying to someone we cherish. And yet we repeat them silently, constantly, without even noticing. You're not enough. You're too much. You'll never change. But you, beautiful soul, are not here to be bullied by your own mind. Instead, let's begin to rewire the voice inside. When you wake in the morning, say, I am safe, I am loved, I am supported. When you make a mistake, say, I am learning, I forgive myself. When you feel uncertain, say, I am willing to trust the process. Because every thought we think is creating our future. Choose thoughts that build you up, not break you down. Self-love also lives in the body. Your body is not just a vessel. It is a living, breathing expression of your spirit. Every morning, place your hands over a part of your body that you've judged or neglected and say, thank you. Thank you, legs, for moving me through this world. Thank you, belly, for holding my emotions. Thank you, arms, for holding what I love. You see, the body, like everything else in life, is a mirror of our inner thoughts and beliefs. When we bless our bodies, we begin to reclaim them, not as problems to fix, but as partners in healing. And then there are boundaries. So many of us were raised to equate being good with being agreeable. We were taught that to be loved, we had to say yes. But saying yes when your soul says no is not kindness. It is self-abandonment. Loving yourself means protecting your energy with grace, not guilt. Say to yourself, I give myself permission to say no without explanation. That is not rejection. That is preservation. That is clarity. And clarity is love. Boundaries are not walls to keep people out. They are doors that open only to what nourishes you. Let's talk about joy. Joy is not a luxury. Joy is your compass. Joy tells you where your soul feels most alive. And yet, so many of us delay joy. We treat it like a prize we'll receive once we've worked hard enough or become good enough. But my darling, what if joy is the path, not the destination? So light the candle just because it makes you smile. Dance barefoot in your living room. Wear the color that makes you feel like sunlight. Take the walk, sing the song, eat the food that delights your senses. Doing something joyful for yourself every day is a way of telling the universe, I am worth delight. It is an act of self-love that radiates outwards. Even 5 minutes of sacred pleasure can change the rhythm of your whole day. Those small, beautiful moments string together like pearls and become your life. Of course, there will be moments when you forget. There will be days when self-love feels far away. You will fall back into old patterns. That is not failure. That is the spiral of healing. We don't move in straight lines. We circle back. We deepen. We return again and again to the center of ourselves. And each time we do, we find more compassion. On those days, you can place your hand on your heart and whisper this truth. I am learning to love myself in all seasons, not just when I feel perfect. Because perfection was never the point. The point is presence. The point is wholeness. And wholeness includes your mess, your doubt, your fear, your joy. So let's make this real. Create a self-love altar, a space with reminders of who you truly are. A candle, a quote, a photo, a stone, a mirror. Visit it each morning and say, I matter, I choose myself. Or write yourself a love letter, not to the ideal future version of you, but to the you who survived the hardest day. Tell her, I see you, I'm proud of you, I will never leave you again. This is not fantasy, this is soul repair. Speak to your inner child as though she is still with you, because she is. Let her know she's not alone. Let her know she never was. You can kneel before her with the tenderness you always needed and say, you are safe with me now. Start your day with rituals that restore you. Light incense, pull a card, write a gratitude list, take 3 deep breaths and say, I return to love. Self-love is not a destination. It is a daily homecoming, a choice you make in tiny moments, a practice of noticing when you're abandoning yourself and gently choosing again. And I love you for walking this path, not perfectly, but honestly, bravely, with so much grace. You are blooming, slowly, softly, radiantly, right here, right now. And it is magnificent. And as you begin to love yourself more deeply, something astonishing happens, not just within, but all around you. Because as I often said, as within, so without. What we cultivate inside becomes the very fabric of the life we create outside. You see, self-love is not selfish. It is the seed of every healthy connection, the foundation of peace, and the permission slip for abundance. When you choose to treat yourself with compassion, patience, and tenderness, the entire universe rearranges to mirror that vibration. Love is the great miracle cure. Loving ourselves works miracles in our lives. I've seen it time and again. A woman begins speaking kindly to herself, and suddenly the relationships that once drained her either transform or gently fall away. A man stops criticizing his every move and begins attracting opportunities that honor his truth. A young soul learns to say, I am enough, and the doors that were once shut begin to open. Why? Because love is magnetic, and the more you radiate self-love, the more you align with the very essence of creation. Life begins to meet you with the same care and clarity you offer yourself. That's not magic. It's energy. That's not coincidence. It's alignment. When you love yourself, you stop begging the world to validate your worth. You already know it. You stop chasing after affection that feels conditional. You begin attracting people, places, and paths that recognize your light and rise to meet it. And let me tell you this, you don't have to settle. You get to align. Alignment means saying yes only to what reflects the love you've cultivated within. It means choosing peace over chaos. It means knowing that your time, energy, and presence are sacred. What does this look like in everyday life? It looks like having conversations that feel mutual, not one-sided. It looks like honoring your rest instead of pushing through exhaustion. It looks like walking away from drama without guilt. It looks like entering a room and no longer wondering if you're too much or not enough, because you know that who you are is just right. Relationships become more balanced because you are no longer trying to earn your place. You show up from fullness, not need, from joy, not desperation, and from that place, You become a healing presence for others. You don't need to fix them. Your energy invites them to rise. Opportunities begin to open because you're no longer blocking your own blessings with self-doubt. You believe deeply that you are deserving, and that belief acts like a beacon. Life sees that, and life responds. I often say, when we love ourselves, everything in life works. Not because challenges disappear, but because we meet them with a different frequency. We no longer spiral into self-blame. We offer ourselves grace. We trust the unfolding. Have you noticed how people treat you differently when you are gentle with yourself? When you radiate peace, it becomes harder for chaos to enter. That's the ripple effect. That's the unspoken magic of inner transformation. It may begin with something small, speaking your truth in a conversation, taking a nourishing pause during a busy day, smiling at your own reflection. But those small acts gather power. They form the current that reshapes your entire life. And yes, there will be those who resist your growth, who preferred you small, silent, or self-sacrificing. That's okay. Your healing is not their burden to carry. Your radiance is not a threat. It is an invitation. Let them meet you where you are, or let them go with love. There is a grace in allowing, in trusting that as you raise your frequency, what no longer resonates will fall away, not as a punishment but as a clearing. And what is meant for you will arrive, not through striving, but through serenity. Take a moment, breathe, feel into this truth. As I treat myself with love, life responds with love. That affirmation is not just words. It is a vibration. It is a prayer. It is a contract with the universe. Say it every morning. Whisper it every night. Let it be the undercurrent of your choices. And when you forget, which you will because we all do, return. Not with shame, but with softness. Return with the same love you would offer a dear friend. Because that's who you are now, to yourself. A friend, a healer, a home. Let this be your reminder. Loving yourself is not just an inner journey. It is a revolution that ripples into every area of your life. And from this day forward, your life can become a sacred reflection of the love you've chosen to give yourself. Because you are worthy. Because you are ready. Because the world needs the version of you that knows she is love, she is light, and she is no longer waiting for permission to shine. And to you, dear heart, thank you. Thank you for being here, for choosing to do the tender work, for showing up with your whole radiant, imperfect self. I see your light. I feel your beauty. I honor your becoming. Life loves you, and so do I.